We've all painted system reform as difficult, and it is really difficult, isn't it, Nicholas?
It's really difficult.
That's his 5 minutes.
I want to ask you a question. Who knows what country in the world was the first country to abolish slavery? This one. We don't know that, but Governor Arthur Phillip refused to take, Admiral Arthur Phillip as he then was, refused to take the commission if slavery was to be tolerated in Australia, 1787. I raise that because Arthur Phillip came here full of good intentions. He came here full of good intentions towards the Indigenous people. The colonisation/invasion of Australia was done, relatively speaking, with greater good intent than any other colonisation to that point, and it wasn't noticeably successful. And I want to suggest to you that child protection is roughly the same kind of problem. It's a problem of ships passing in the night, different cultures so dominant that they don't know how they dominate the other. I want to start with that observation. I then want to tell you that a big thing for me was being asked to chair the Australian Centre for Social Innovation, TAXI. My first question was, what's social innovation? My next answer was yes. I still haven't worked out what social innovation is, by the way. But when I took that job on, I think I was asked to do the job because I was an economist, and we all know what serious people economists are. We all know how they're very rigorous. As another Minister for the Arts said to me when he put me on an arts body, we need some rigour around this. What the hell does that mean? So I was chair of TAXI, and I was giving rigour to the process. And I began that process as what I would call a tragic liberal. The beginning of tragic liberalism is Tony Abbott's words, "The poor will always be with us." I certainly believe that. I even believe that now. But what I believed then was that the poor, the underclass, if you like, would always be with us, and there isn't much we can do. And we can try, and the liberal part, as opposed to the tragic conservative, which is who cares, the liberal part of me said, well, OK, we may not be able to do much, but we can at least in this incredibly prosperous world try and be generous and see what we can do. And exposure to TAXI's methods of co-design and so on showed me that really we can be quite successful. We won't be 100% successful, but we can be a lot better at this. And I became optimistic, at least about that we actually know enough to design interventions that can powerfully mobilise people's desire to have a better life, roughly on their terms, if you're with me. Not on our terms, but on their terms. And so we built the program that I was used to illustrate this is Family by Family. We were asked to build, in effect, an early intervention program to prevent families falling into crisis and us having to take their kids off them. I thought to myself, how the hell do you do that? We hung around with families and we built a model which doesn't throw away professional knowledge, but, as I like to put it, provides professional knowledge into the system as midwife, not as obstetrician. So we had families mentoring other families, and it was visibly, viscerally powerful. Family by Family spread from South Australia to New South Wales, and then that was that. It's been in 4 suburbs in New South Wales and 4 suburbs in South Australia and 1 suburb in New South Wales for. She wants me to stop.
Yeah. Just trying to introduce a bit of rigour.
One more minute. You're going to like it. You're going to like it. So 4 suburbs in South Australia, 1 suburb in New South Wales. For about 5 years, it didn't grow, it didn't shrink. It's now shrunk in New South Wales, it seems. So there's a whole lot more to think about other than being able to do this. I want to leave you with another history story. Who knows of Ned Kelly's sash? It's amazing, isn't it? We don't know our history. When Ned Kelly was 11 years old, I crack up when I tell this story, he saved the life of a son of a local farmer. The farmer gave him a green sash. And when they took the armour off him, as the only survivor of that mad adventure in Glenrowan, through his blood-soaked clothes, he was wearing the green sash. And that's what we have to try and do. We have to stop these tragedies where people entirely capable of leading great lives are somehow bewildered out of those great lives. That's what we have to do.
Thank you, Nicholas.